Boom with Buffalo Josh is a health podcast. The reason why Boom with Buffalo Josh started is because over the last several years, me and myself, Josh, have suffered with multiple health issues. I have been involved in multiple accidents, and I'm having a very hard time dealing with my daily living activities. With that being said, I want to share my experience, my strength, and my hope with all of you, and make sure that you know that you're not alone. And the best part about this is I want to have guests on my show to be able, maybe doctors, nurses, students, that are studying, get their opinion, get their suggestions, Come on, tune in, and we shall have a boom of a time educating ourselves.
Welcome everybody to Boom with Buffalo Josh. I am Josh Jaco, aka Buffalo Josh. I also got
these days it's definitely business as unusual. So if you need to add some flex to your cash flow, talk with
Sorry about that. A little technical issue right there. We are on our episode 7 today, season 1, and today we're going to talk about mental health. But I got a special guest. You may have heard him on the Gino Thanks podcast. I'll let him introduce himself. Here he is.
What's up? It's Gino Bino, and like Josh was saying, I do have my own podcast with Kick the Media as well, so check me out every Monday on Gino Thanks, the podcast. And thanks for having me, Josh.
No worries. Don't forget to like, follow, share, and subscribe to his podcast. Make sure you are downloading and listening to it. It's an awesome, epic podcast. I highly recommend. He talks about various different things. But, today we're going to focus on mental health. And, today is the first time I'm actually having a guest on my show, so I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to, come join me on this beautiful Monday. How's the weather in Maryland?
It's super hot and humid.
Okay. Well, it's supposed to be thundering storming in southwestern Ontario, which is southwestern, I guess, for North America. I'm not for sure. I failed geography.
Yeah, but, I'm not sure either.
Today I'm trying some houseplant grapefruit. It's a sativa cannabis infused sparkling water. And if I'm
is houseplant in the U.S. too, or is that only in Canada?
That's a good question. I believe, I'm not 100% sure because I know, Tweed Inc. is also in the U.S. And that's who makes this. And it's also made by Seth Rogen, if I'm not right. Seth Rogen, right?
Yeah. Seth Rogen made it. I remember seeing him a long time ago. I didn't know it was going to be drinks. What he was advertising was he was putting. Well, not only does he make ashtrays, which I think were part of it, and then the weed strains, he also had mixes that he put together on vinyl, meant to put in a record player, and so he advertised 2 that he had, and one was called sativa and one was called indica. So I guess depending on what you're smoking is dictates what you listen to. Yeah. So that's all I thought it was. I didn't know there were drinks.
Well, you know what? Maybe on next week's episode, if you're more than willing to come hop on, maybe we'll discuss cannabis and medical cannabis and the benefits of it, because that's something I haven't really touched yet.
True.
But let's start.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, it all goes hand in hand, because today you're talking about mental health, and, I feel like weed definitely helps with your mental health. So it's...
Everybody's different, though, right? So it does depend on the person as well, too, right? So...
I think everyone could benefit. Everyone needs to start.
Excuse me. It was the sparkling water, I swear. But you are right. We are going to talk a little bit about mental health. Me, myself, and I suffer from various mental health conditions such as PTSD, anxiety, and depression. And I'm not sure if insomnia is included on that as well, too.
True. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like those are the same things I suffer from, but at the same time, it's I feel like everyone suffers from that on some level. All 3 of those.
Yeah, depending on...
Depending on what?
I was just going to say, depending on what they're going through and whatnot, right, too?
Yeah.
So, if you guys weren't aware, millions of Americans live with various types of mental health illness and mental health problems, such as social anxiety, obsession-compulsive disorder, drug addiction, and personality disorders. Treatment options include medication and psychotherapy.
True.
What do you think about all that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know much about what exactly is psychotherapy. Is that just like going to a psychologist?
I will certainly get into that, but I believe so. Once when I review this article really quick here, it will tell me more. But yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Okay, because when you say psychotherapy, like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking also like shock therapy. Is that still a thing?
That is still a thing.
Is that still
actually
effective?
I don't know about this year. I know last year I came across an article on the Windsor Star that apparently the Windsor Regional Hospital here in Windsor was still doing that type of treatment.
So was that it was an article that was like supporting it though, or were they saying that they shouldn't do that?
Supporting it, surprisingly.
Oh, I see. Well, yeah, I don't know much about that, but I don't know. Interested to see the research on that.
Well, if we have time, we'll certainly go through it. You just have to remember to let me know later after the podcast. But, I did look up psychotherapy, and it's a treatment of mental disorders by a psychological rather than medical means. So they would rather do it, rather than through medicine per se. A psychologist per se can help you work through such problems through psychotherapy. It helps people of all ages live happier and healthier and more productive lives. And it applies it and produces it to help people develop healthier and more effective habits per se.
Okay.
Now, for me and myself and somebody who suffers from anxiety, not a lot of people may understand fully what anxiety disorders are. Have you, you said you suffer from a couple things. Do you mind disclosing a couple things with us, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I did see, a while ago I thought I was having a heart attack. So I actually went to the ER and told them that. They did their tests or whatever, and they were telling me that it was not a heart attack, that it was an anxiety attack. Now, I'm still not 100% sure what the fuck happened to me. I'm still not 100% sure it was an anxiety attack. However, I do feel like I have anxiety. I don't think it's to the point where I would physically feel like I'm having a heart attack, but who knows? I'm still trying to figure that out myself right now. So.
Okay. And I go see a psychologist and a therapist, and also a mental health and addictions counselor as well too. So, I have been proven it does help.
True. I'm seeing. I guess it depends on who you're talking to, because I'm seeing a psychologist, or she's not even really a psychologist. She's like a therapist, so it's not real psychology. I don't know. I don't want to knock therapists, but I don't feel like she's helping as much as she could. I don't know if you're seeing like an actual doctor therapist, because I don't even call mine a doctor. My therapist is not a doctor.
No.
Is yours?
Well, I do see a psychologist, Dr. I'm not going to say their name, but I do see them. I haven't seen them in a couple months now because of the whole pandemic. And, with recently a family member passing away. I've been dealing with that and, having to go back to my hometown to deal with it. So I am planning to go back home where I reside in beautiful northern British Columbia by the Rocky Mountains. So I'll have to schedule an appointment. But, maybe to some of our viewers, since you said, you think that you do suffer with some anxiety, do you want to maybe explain a little more about anxiety disorder so people maybe understand a better take on that?
I mean, I'm still trying to understand it. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell you. Like, if you're telling me that you have a heart attack, I'm going to think you have a heart attack and not tell you it's anxiety, because I have no fucking idea the difference. Oh, sorry, was I not supposed to cuss on here? I don't know if I'm supposed to.
Oh, that's okay. So anxiety disorders, or people with anxiety disorders, usually respond to certain objects or situations with fear and a dread, as well as with physical signs of anxiety or panic, such as a rapid heartbeat, sweating. Anxiety disorders are diagnosed if the person's response is not appropriate for the situation, if the person cannot control responses, or if the anxiety interferes with normal functions. Anxiety disorders include generalized anxiety disorders, panic disorders, social anxiety disorders, and specific phobias.
I mean, who doesn't have a phobia? Everyone has a phobia. Is that to say that everyone has anxiety? Like, you know what I'm saying? Of course everyone has anxiety.
That is very, very true. But there's also very other types of forms, you know. We can also go into mood disorders as well, too, you know. These are disorders are also called affective disorders, involving persistent feelings of sadness or periods of feelings overly happy or fluctuations from extreme happiness to extreme sadness. The most common mood disorders are depression, bipolar disorder, and psychophomatic disorder, which I have no clue what that is.
So, quick question: when you go see your psychologist, do they prescribe you medication? Like,
so yes, they have. So a psychologist is somebody who deals with, you know, try to force medicine to try to resolve whatever issues you may have.
You say force medicine, but are they really forcing you? Because you don't have to go see. Are you being forced to go see the psychologist?
No one's forced to see anybody unless it's court ordered, but you know.
So how are they forced? So they're not really forcing you to take.
They make it a suggestion, right? So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My therapist has suggested that to me too, and I'm like, no, thanks, I'm good.
I take enough pills. I don't need more. That's the way I see it.
So you don't take any anti-anxiety or antidepressant medication?
I did at one point in time. It just made matters worse. And, you know, I'm already taking a bunch of pills to treat multiple issues. You know, I don't, right now, during my problems that I have, health conditions of not being able to go to the bathroom and whatnot, my bowel problems, you know, I don't want to force something else until I get this rectified. You know, when I get this rectified and resolved, you know, then I may consider taking another medication. But at this point in time, I'm basically refusing to, just because, you know, I don't want to put anything else down my system when my bathroom going right now is pretty good, if that makes sense.
It sounds like a hashtag. Hashtag rectify my rectum.
That's a good hashtag. Now, there are psychotic disorders as well, which is another disorder. You know, and psychotic disorders involve a distorted awareness and thinking. Two of the most common symptoms of psychotic disorders are hallucinated. I can't even fucking talk today.
Hallucinogenic?
Close, but hallucinogens.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever. The experience of images or sound that are not real, such as hearing voices and delusions, which are false fixed beliefs that our ill person accepts as true despite evidence of the contrary. Schizophrenia is an example of a psychotic disorder, for an example. Now, there are many more, such as eating disorders, impulsive control, and addictive disorders. There's personality disorders. There's also obsessive-compulsive disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, there are a whole lot. Now, with an eating disorder, you know, it involves extreme emotions, attitudes, and behaviors involving weight and food. You know, usually at night, going to Taco Bell or McDonald's isn't a very good idea. Cough, cough, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's always a good idea. It's good for your mental health, alright? Sometimes sitting in your car and eating is the best therapy.
I like music therapy personally, and I think music therapy goes a long way. Now, there are impulsive control and addictive disorders. So people who have impulse control, you know, disorders are unable to resist urges or impulses to perform acts that can be harmful to themselves or others. You know, starting fires, pyromania, right? starting fires, kleptomania, stealing, and compulsive gambling are examples of impulsive control disorders. Alcohol and drugs are common objectives of addictions. Often people with these disorders become, so involved with the objects of their addiction that they begin to ignore responsibilities and relationships.
True.
Do you think, do you know anybody with so far, you said that you might suffer from a couple, or you're from anxiety and depression, you're not 100% sure. Do you think, any of these, because technically, hallucinating, so if I were to take some LSD or some mushrooms right now, obviously I'm going to hallucinate. Now, does that mean that, I have a disorder because I took something for that?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. This is what you just read is, so generalized that it will really apply to everyone. And you're just going to make it seem like everyone's crazy, which, in a way, everyone is. I don't necessarily feel like everyone who is crazy needs to have their mood brought down by medication. You see what I'm saying? Some people, yeah, definitely, but, there's a spectrum. But your definition kind of just covered everyone. It doesn't separate the people that can function and then the people that cannot function.
Now,
so let's take for example a businessman. They're working really hard, right? They're addicted to money. They're forgetting about their other friends. Is that a problem? It's not really a problem.
Yeah, but then you could end up burning out, with me, myself, and I, I've done things, where I end up working too much and trying to take too much on at once, and you end up burning out, and then your burnout's a lot worse than actually taking a break, per se, right? This is just from personal preference and what I've been through kind of thing. Own experience.
So basically, if you're not having any mental thing going on, you're saying eventually you will.
Not necessarily. I'm not
it's
a medical
inevitable.
Doctor or trained professional in this field. I highly recommend, go see a medical profession. Talk to your family doctor about it. But, everybody is different.
But that's what I'm saying. Everyone's different, so to kind of make a generalized statement that I don't know. Where are you reading this from, if I can ask?
Yeah, so you can certainly find this on a webmd.com. Just simply type in types of mental illness, and it will certainly bring them all up as well too.
That's what I'm saying. If you look up anything on WebMD, you're gonna think you have it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not necessarily thinking that you have it per se. It's just we're just discussing the different types of disorders and whatnot. But I'm not quite sure, where mental health, stands today. In today's world, the stigma is still there, based on mental health. People just say, move on, get over it. Sometimes certain things aren't that easy to get over per se. I know grief is one of the hardest things to get over. I'm still struggling over the last 5 years, still over family deaths and whatnot. It doesn't help that more keep adding on per se.
Excuse me.
And there's also OCD, which is obsession compulsive disorder. Usually people with OCD are plagued by a constant thoughts or fears that cause them to perform in certain rituals or routines. The disturbing thoughts are called obsessions, and these rituals are called compulsions. An example is a person with an unreasonable fear of germs who constantly washes his or her hands. We are in a pandemic right now, so do you think everybody has OCD because they use hand sanitizer wherever they go or wash their hands constantly?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're inducing OCD. I don't know. I feel like people that do that, they're not necessarily OCD because people know it's just during this time. If they did that before this, then I would see it. You see what I'm saying? So that's another one of those what level is it? I don't think that it's that level is like a problem to be that OCD, because that's what TV is telling you. TV is telling you you have to be a little bit OCD, so that becomes the normal to be a little bit OCD. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so would you consider this being OCD? You know, for example, I like to have things time management. So, for example, if something gets thrown off even by a half an hour, it just drives me nuts, right? Because I like to be on time. So, for example, if I say 1 o'clock, I like to be at 1 o'clock. If I say 1:30, you know, I expect to be, for example, usually my medical appointments are at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm there usually at 8:45. I'm usually there 15 minutes prior. I like to be consistent, per se. Would you consider that being OCD?
I'm not sure if that's considered... Is that considered OCD? I mean, that's considered being punctual. That's good, I guess, but I don't think that's necessarily OCD, because what is the behavior that you are doing? That's what I'm saying. It has to be like what you're doing. You see, yeah. For example, I feel like... Let me ask you about this one, because I'm not sure if this is OCD or not, okay? But say, for example, like... Okay, when I was little, you know, my parents, when I did something bad, they would, like, hit my hand, right? But they would only hit one hand. I personally would feel the need to, like, even it out. So I would slap my other hand just to, like, even it out. Is that considered OCD?
I'm not no medical profession, but that's something you should certainly ask somebody who has their degree in that. But, you know, it could be very well. But, you know, I know a lot of people do suffer from PTSD, and that's something I suffer from as well, too, for multiple reasons. You know, PTSD is a condition that can develop following a traumatic and or terrifying event, you know, such as sexual or physical assault, the unexpected death of a loved one, or a natural disaster. People with PTSD often have lasting and frightening thoughts and memories of the event and tend to be emotionally numb. You know, I wake up usually at 3 o'clock every morning, you know, in sweat and tears and in terror. Unfortunately, that's just something that happens to me. Everybody is different.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's another one of those things that are on a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like PTSD, of course, everyone has some form of it. It's like is there like a scale that says if it's affecting this much of your life, then it's considered PTSD? But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
Sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying I do somewhat understand what you're saying.
Like everyone, when they were a kid, you know, they might have had like their favorite blankie, or you know what I'm saying,
Soother.
Something like that. Isn't it? Aren't they traumatized? Don't they have PTSD from when they turned 7 and they had to get rid of their? You know what I'm saying? That's just an example, but like one could argue that that's PTSD. So is that really something that you should worry about?
Yeah, but that could, like, you know, that it could be a traumatic event for that said person per se, right?
You're right. I guess it depends on the situation, but I don't know. Because sometimes you're right. Well, as far as mental health goes, like whenever I'm feeling like that, like, oh, it's so traumatic because of what happened to me in the past, and for my mental health, I kind of just got to remind myself, like, you're just being a little bitch about it. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't know. Does that not help? Like, is that avoiding the situation?
It could.
Or
be.
Is that what you got to?
It very well could be avoiding the situation. You know, have you talked to your therapist about this?
I have, and basically that's why I'm not sure if I like them, though, because that's basically what they're telling me is like, oh yeah, but sometimes, you know, you just gotta let things go and like find like new things.
Sorry.
Exactly, but it's like, yeah, but you know, that's just a distraction. It's not dealing with it. I don't know. That's the number one thing I hate. Does your therapist ever tell you to just deal? You have to deal with it. I hate that. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
To me, what you were saying before that, you know, it was basically your therapist. To me, it sounded, in my opinion, you know, it sounded like your therapist wanted to kind of shug stuff underneath the carpet kind of thing, right? And things shouldn't be that way. You should be able to deal with them up front. You know, and even though your therapist did say, you know, just deal with it, they're not wrong.
they're not wrong, but it's like I might as well get my therapy from a fortune cookie because it would tell me something similar. You know what I'm saying? Like, just deal with it. Like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't help me.
Yeah. You know, and there are other common types of mental illness, you know, that can lead from that as well too, right? Stress response syndrome, which is formerly called adjustment disorders. You know, stress response syndromes occurs when a person develops emotional or behavioral symptoms in response to a stressful situation event, just like you were saying earlier about, you know, getting the blanket taken away. You know, even with such stressors may include natural disasters, such as an earthquake or tornado, or an event or a crisis that we're in right now, or even such as a car accident, or the diagnosis of a major illness, or interpersonal problems such as divorce, death of a loved one, loss of a job even. You know, even problem with substance abuse. Stress response syndrome usually begins within 3 months of the event or situation and ends within 6 months after the stressor stops or is eliminated. You know, and there's also other ones such as a dissociative disorders. People with disorders suffer from severe disturbance or changes in memory, conscience, identity, and general awareness of themselves and their surroundings. These disorders usually are associated with an overwhelming stress, which may be a result of a traumatic event, accident, or disasters or experience, or even witnessed by an individual. Dissociative identity disorder, formerly called multiple personality disorder. You know, it's split personalities, and depersonalization disorders are example of dissociative disorders. So now they're changing the names of certain disorders.
Yeah, I knew about that.
I didn't. I'm just learning about this now.
I think it's not that they changed it, it's that multiple personality disorder, I think it means something else now. It's not... Dissociative identity disorder is specifically like they really don't know each other. It's like you have multiple people literally like in your mind, and they like. Have you seen the movie Split?
No.
Okay, well that's what I mean. Like the people don't know each other. I think multiple personality disorder is like you're aware of each personality, but your personality just changes or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, you know, there are also other disorders such as fictitious disorder, which are conditions in which a person knowingly and intentionally creates or complains of a physical and or emotional symptoms in order to place the individual in the role of a patient or a person in need of help. There's also sexual and gender disorders. These include disorders that affect sexual desire, performance, and behavior. Sexual dysfunctions, gender identity disorder, and the paraphilias are examples of sexual and gender disorders. Paraphilias? I can't talk today. Now,
yeah, I don't know what that is. I was trying to think what it could be.
Now, there are somatic symptom disorders, which is the person of somatic symptom disorders formerly known as a psychotic disorder or somatoform disorder, experiences the physical symptoms of an illness or of pain with an excessive and disproportionate level of distress, regardless of whether or not a doctor can find a medical cure or cause for the symptoms. Now, tic disorder, which is people with tic disorders make sounds or display non-purposeful body movements that are repeated, quick and sudden, and or uncontrollable. You know, the sound that made involuntarily are called vocal tics. Tourette syndrome is an example of a tic disorder. There are other diseases or conditions, including various sleep-related problems and many forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease, are sometimes classified as a mental illness because they involve the brain. You can find this article on WebMD and its types of mental illness.
That's interesting.
Now, do you know any warning signs for mental health?
I feel like anything anyone does is a warning sign.
Do you want to elaborate on that?
I challenge you to give me a sign, something that can be taken as a sign, and I'll explain to you. No matter what you come up with, I'll explain to you how it's
abuse of drugs
sign.
And or alcohol.
Yeah, obviously they have some past trauma that they're dealing with, and that's why they stick to getting fucked up. So obviously, yeah, there you go. So what other sign is there? Everyone's just fucked up. So see what I'm saying? That's the main idea.
Well, according to WebMD, in adults there's confused thinking, long-lasting sadness or irritability, extreme high and low mood, excessive fear, worry, or anxiety, social withdrawal.
Wait, what is this that you're reading again?
It's off of WebMD, mental health warning signs.
The warning sign is oh, I see. No, that's what I'm saying. So doesn't everyone goes through these confused thinking, long-lasting sadness, irritability, extremely high and low moods? Everyone does that.
Yeah, but these are just some, warning signs that can lead to mental health, right? So you're saying that everyone has a problem then? Everyone is crazy. That's not what I'm saying. That's what MMD's talking about. This is what the article is, But not necessarily all of these, per se, are going to fit every single person.
Not all of these, but at least one of these, yes, is going to be in every single person.
So then what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that everyone is just crazy. That's why I was challenging you to give me something that could be taken as a sign that you think could not be that's not a sign of a mental health issue. I'm telling you, every sign is a sign of a mental health issue.
It could be.
Because everyone's crazy. So give me an example of where it's not.
I can't.
So then you then just accept it and don't say it could be and say it is. How come you're not willing to accept my answer?
I am willing to accept your answer.
No, you said it could be. I'm saying it is, and you're saying it could be. So you're not accepting my answer.
Because every single person is different, so you can't determine which one somebody's going to be or not, because everybody's different, right? Just like how medications affect everybody else differently, per se. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I can't come up with one. They're confused thinking, from long-lasting sadness, irritability, extreme high and low moods, social withdrawals, to thoughts of suicide, denial of obsessive, problems, many unexplained physical problems.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm not trying to say anything.
Oh, okay.
I was just going over mental health warning signs, which may include, and some of these general symptoms that are just suggested as a mental illness include.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, what are you exactly? So if you notice someone that are exhibiting these signs, what do you do?
Well, what I would do is I would talk to them first, see where they stand, depending on where they stand, I would try to direct them the best suggestions possible, usually to go reach out to their family doctor would be the first thing I would suggest anybody to do.
So that's what I'm saying. So basically everyone that you should tell them to go talk to their doctor if that's what you would do. Because
if they came up to me and, I for the people who I do know, I do talk to them and tell them, my opinion and their suggestions. Whether they take it into consideration or not, that's up to them,
True.
Now, mental illnesses are a disease or condition that affects how you think, feel, act, or relate to other people or to your surroundings. There are many people who have had one or know someone who has. Symptoms can range from mild to severe. They can also vary from person to person. In many cases, it makes daily life hard to handle. But when an expert diagnoses you and helps you get treatment, you can often get your life back on track.
Sounds like they're just pushing drugs.
Yeah, but you do have a choice, right? So
I know, but I don't trust that they have your best interest in your mental health in mind.
And why do you feel that?
Because they don't even know your specific situation, and they're already telling you that you should go get like medication or something.
Yeah, I can see where you stand in your viewpoint. Anyways, time is running out on today's episode. If any of my listeners want to follow you and listen to your podcast, where can they find you, follow, like, and share, and subscribe to you?
Everyone can follow me at Gino Thanks Podcast on Instagram. That's the Instagram for my podcast. If you want to get in touch with me personally, just on every social media, social network, my username is Gino Bino. DAGINO. So also follow me on YouTube. You can just search Gino Bino on YouTube.
Awesome. Thank you for taking the time of your day and doing the podcast with me today on Boom with Buffalo Josh, talking about mental health.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Boom with Buffalo Josh is a health podcast. The reason why Boom with Buffalo Josh started is because over the last several years, me and myself, Josh, have suffered with multiple health issues. I have been involved in multiple accidents, and I'm having a very hard time dealing with my daily living activities. With that being said, I want to share my experience, my strength, and my hope with all of you, and make sure that you know that you're not alone. And the best part about this is I want to have guests on my show to be able, maybe doctors, nurses, students, that are studying, get their opinion, get their suggestions, Come on, tune in, and we shall have a boom of a time educating ourselves.
This podcast was sponsored by JJ Marketing Advantage. We are way more than just a marketing company. We are almost family. We're proud to offer the highest quality, most unique merchandise and services on the market today. From our family to yours, we put lots of love and careful attention to each item and service. We hope you enjoy our work as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. At JJ Marketing Advantage, we are passionate about helping our clients achieve practical results with real impact. The company was founded in 2007 and named after Joshua Jacquot, hence the name JJ Marketing Advantage. Today, JJ Marketing Advantage is a global strategy consulting and marketing firm with clients and presence in the North Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Josh Jacquot acts as the firm's chief executive officer. We are in the business of advising clients, many of which are facing unprecedented change and disruption in their industries and need a fresh perspective on their most pressing business challenges. Our ongoing aim is to help clients succeed. We examine these challenges in new ways to produce breakthrough insights and deliver unique solutions. We provide insights that impact our clients using our unbiased, fact-based, rigorous approach to uncover business truths and smash the competition. Whether it's a global pharmaceutical company evaluating its strategy to develop new cures for diseases, an airline seeking new revenue sources in a challenging deregulated industry, or a global footwear company repositioning its brands, our clients rely on JJ Marketing Advantage to help them meet their toughest challenges and take advantage of their biggest opportunities. Our deep industry expertise, analytical rigor, and the knowledge that it takes to turn insights into action are the hallmarks of our approach. We are both analytical and creative. We communicate, design, develop, and publish to influence, experience, move, and inspire. We understand that there's more to marketing than making you look good. We go to work every day to help grow your business. We are that strategic partner. You're experts in everything digital, brand, and marketing. We can be reached at www.jjmarketingadvantage.com or give us a call at 1-877-322-JJMA. That was 1-877-322-5562. We are located at 895 Don Mills Road, Suite 900, Toronto, Ontario M3CU1W3 Canada. This podcast has been powered by www.kickthemedia.com. That was www.kickthemedia.com. You can find us on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and many more. Kick the Media was established in early 2016. It was found under the grounds to entertain other people around the world. Kick the Media was registered officially as a business in late October 2018. Our goal is to provide local Southwestern Ontario news with the opinion of everyday people. We have also had an interest in the food scene in the HYQG area and will eventually expand to other places. We also love to have special guests on our show to see how they made it from start to the place they are at today. If you have not had a chance to listen, hear us, and let us know what you think. Then in early January of 2020 underwent some new ownership changes, and we plan to bring Kick the Media back as an entertainment production company that supports a wide range of podcast shows. Artists, long and short film producers of any platform. We want to open up an easy-to-use platform for companies to assist newcomers in the industry. Even if you're a professional at what you do. See how we do things at Kick the Media and tell us if you like our style. This podcast has been powered by www.kickthemedia.com. That was www.kickthemedia.com.